Welcome back to the show, guys. God damn it, what a fucking day. Complete seek and destroy, little directional, and it was still pretty good. I mean, maybe not our results for the day. Me and Luca sort of started off a little red, or ended off a little red.
No. I gotta correct you.
For me, it was little.
I gotta correct you.
It was little.
Yeah, for me, it was not. For me, it was not. You guys, oh my God, how many episodes have you guys been through and seen me all red and bad and trading bad?
Oh my God.
And it's horrible. It's been like, how many episodes, VJ? It's been like 4 in a row or 5.
It might be half.
Fuck.
Honestly, like, I think we've been talking about your quote-unquote streak.
Recession. No, you can't use the word. You can't use the word.
No, that's fine. Use it. You're using it. So this show, the nickname for it is going to be Recession, because that's exactly just
I'm on a red streak.
This is going to be the event show. This is going to be the event show. So let's just say this, like, okay, me and Luca had red days. Yep. He's going through something.
Big thing.
I was just like right before we're about to record, I was just telling him, yo, I got to breathe some shit out and bring my energy, because I'm in a critical period in my trading where we are about to be profitable. We are about to do some shit. We have the fucking skills to do so. But the main thing, I'm just going to throw this out here first and we'll get back to it later, that we're sort of struggling with is that sometimes we don't have the control. Now, lately I've been trading on a bunch of free evaluations and like it's just been shaky, and now the accounts are dwindling down to something I can start with. But even going back to the more stable place, there's some changes, and that's why I was like, you know what, like, you had to get settled. It's okay, and just run it up. So this is a weird intro, and thank you guys for joining us. What is it, the 23rd episode, the Jordan episode, the fucking LeBron, blah, blah, blah. He's 6, whatever, fuck him, episode. But we're going to get started, I guess, with your trade, and then we can get into all this, Luca. What do you say?
I say that's a great idea. That is an absolutely great idea.
Then let's roll the intro.
Order filled.
Great. Everything great. Anyway, guys, welcome back to Trash Trades. You already know I'm here with another absolute reverse banger. If you guys know, you already call these shitty trades reverse bangers, because they're bangers, but in not a good way. You know, it's like a shitty way. And funny enough, I have these quite often. You know, I'm a master of Aikido and a master of many arts and crafts. You know, primary school, little, you know, some kindergarten stuff, and yeah, I make my way around the canvas. I'll tell you that, especially trading wise, because this trade was not my best piece of art. I have to say, I mess up on a lot of psychological things I'll talk about later on in this trade. I'll just give you a brief overview real quick. Anyway, massive run day. You guys already know we kind of have been trading in these massive runs for a while now, a good couple of days. And honestly, I kind of wanted to catch a short. I was seeing this area right here as some sort of accumulation here, a lot of liquidity. You guys know me with my liquidity, right? I look for equal lows here. I look for my Pukels. Yep, I said the Pukels. I know everyone's fans of the Pukels now. The Pukels here, technically that low as well is a Pukel. But anyway, there's major liquidity down there. I wanted to snipe a short. I thought it was going to be a great call. And I entered my short. And this is the reason why I entered my short. Okay. Guess what I'm about to do? Yes, I'm about to pull a fib. Okay, here we are in the 0.618 of this area. You already know me and my 0.618s. I'm in there. If I see 0.618 in liquidity in any markets, you best believe that the market you're watching right now, I am in that trade. And right here, I was in there. I was looking for that 5 minute to close as a doji here. Rejection from this high. A nice big sweep. I was looking for lower prices. I was looking, even if you guys know me, well, here's a candle with no wick. Here's another type of liquidity rule or whatever. And I'll quickly go on the 1 minute. Just to further...
you should explain the liquidity rule, just for people who don't.
Yeah, so it's... I have a weird habit of looking at candles with no wicks. This is what I've taken out of candles with no wicks, out of my experience trading. When a candle forms and there's no wick, like this, and then you have a little wick only at the top, right? Not at the bottom. You see that this area here, so that's the wick, this area where the candle opened at is basically like, I don't want to say anything liquidity wise, but it's pushing the price up. It's upwards pressure. So we will expect to see higher prices as long as this wick does not does not sweep lower. If it sweeps lower, then lower prices, etc. If I see this on a higher time frame, candle with no wick, for example, this was the 15-minute time frame. So if we go to the 15, you can see a candle with no wick, and straight away I'm like, okay, here you go. Here's your order flow. Here's your pressure upwards, and it's going to continue. In this trade, in particular, I was actually looking to invalidate that wick that was holding us up, right? So it's also the other way around. If we see prices lower than this wick, you guys already know that it's likely for another move down. This is absolute speculation. This is on my my opinion on the market, what I've gathered and information over the time I've traded. So I was looking for that candle with no wick and the liquidity level, and it looks great. You already know my 0.618, we swept that high. Here's the 5-minute candle, and I'm just going to go a little bit more into detail on the 1 minute right here. And this is what happens, right? We see an invalidation here. This is a great high. You could argue that technically we are in this fair value gap as well. So we're in this fair value gap. This high, I'm looking for movement down, which, to be honest, we kind of got quite a movement down. Here's the movement down. We were kind of consolidating in this range. Watch. Who's ready? Me. I'm ready. Here you go. Here's another accumulation, manipulation, distribution, AMD. I'm learning my ICT shit. Here's your accumulation here. Equal lows, triple low. Oh, fuck. I moved this shit. So you guys already know a lot of liquidity under that low. So technically it looks good. What happens here? It goes above this high. Maybe that's a manipulation for lower prices in the distribution. I will not play the distribution part because, spoiler alert, it went in my favor, unfortunately. Here is what I got wrong, because I've been lying to you guys since the start, unfortunately, on this trade. And I actually decided, I had the gut and the audacity to move down my stop loss. Yep, move down my stop loss right to here. I moved it down as soon as we got this consolidation area. I was very I was very confident. Sometimes in a move down, you'd get a sharp movement downwards, and then you get a little consolidation, and then an even sharper movement downwards. It wouldn't really go a sharp movement downwards and then go up here. I don't really see it a lot, especially with the strategy I play. It's very specific to the environment. So I decided to move down my stop, and to be honest, I ate a perfect trade. I completely missed a perfect trade because I decided to move my stop. I was overconfident. I was thinking that, I got this right. I got the perfect entry. It follows all my rules. So I'm going to move down my stop. I'm going to secure my risk as much as I can during this trade. Not only was this the wrong thing to do, but as soon as I got stopped out, because I moved the stop down, remember, this was my previous stop. Now it was there. I got stopped out, and then as soon as I got stopped out, it completely executes in my favor. We see those lows being swept. We see this accumulation zone being played down under, and it was all because I decided to move down my stop, and as soon as I did that, I missed out on the trade.
So,
VJ, we need a VJ input. Here you go. Change your camera to the VJ opinion. It's coming in hot, VJ.
Thank you. You kept saying this one thing when you were explaining your trade. I moved my stop up because, and then you drew the leg and then the consolidation in the leg, right?
Yep.
And you said, sharp move down. And then just look at the moves on the screen. No. Go back to the last one.
The 5.
Yeah, go back to the 5. Look at the moves on the screen. Which one? Why did you think that move was sharp? You see? Those are just lies we tell ourselves.
You're saying this move.
No, the first one that caused you to move your stop.
Oh, this move. Yeah, you're right. 100%
Yeah,
right.
it's not sharp. Look at the rest of the price action right there. There's not another move that is less sharp than that. That's not even a move, actually.
Yep.
So I completely understand that, but remember what I was saying about like certain types of stops. You want them to be convincing. Now, look at the 5, and then see that move after that third stop right, that other stop right, and how convincing it moves down. No, go back to the 5. Just that one candle, break a structure, and that tap in that fair value. Yeah.
It's kind of right here.
That is way more convincing. No, yeah, I'm just saying that move after that sweep is a sweep.
Yep.
See, the sweep doesn't mean I take the high. This is one thing that people get mixed up a lot. And actually, I was studying on this because no raid, no trade is one of the best rules in the game.
Yep.
And so, how do you look at a real trade? You saw that wick, and you're like, that's a raid. It is
exactly.
a stop run. But how do you know it's the one that's initiating your move? It starts accumulating, which happens many times after stop runs. Then it moves up quicker. The only time you should really be thinking, because you, and we were just talking about this, I do this too sometimes. We enter sometimes an accumulation because we're mistiming the signal. And if it's not like decisively moving back into the range, it's not yet ready. It might need a sweep again. That sweep you don't need to eat. We'd rather be on time than to grab everything. One of our boys who like turtle soups everything, he has the money to be able to hold in that. Like, for example, look at that white candle to the left. You could say order block. No, the order block that it taps.
It's kind of.
Yes. Yeah, so if you enter in that order block and you say, okay, I'm out at the top of the order block, you're good. You can take the body of that candle, but then just like look at the stop and be like, how is it like reasonable? Like take the body rather than the wick to wick to reduce your entry. And then like, is that a reasonable stop for you? Where was your original stop? It's about the same.
My original stop was here. So
right, and then you could just be like, okay, in this order block, like I'll have like 3 entries. And then if you notice, like even when it came back, like you should have never stopped out. And then you're fine.
I honestly,
because your trade idea for the reasoning right there, especially on that first sweep, is fine. But this is why sometimes you're gonna have to stay in drawdown, especially when you're too early. But see, then it's also like I don't like to necessarily turtle soup because then you have to deal with drawdown sometimes, even if you're right. Now, like look at the accumulation, okay? Afterwards, that's not like a real quick push back in or like a break of structure, so there's nothing to enter on. Then there's another one that happens, and then it breaks structure. That is like, especially on like 5 minute or higher, that's much more telling. And the thing that we do is that we feel like we're going to miss the trade, so we hurry into some bullshit. And this is where we should go into the rest of the shit, because this is my main problem. And whenever I like kill that, and many of the times I do, most of the time I trade without it. But any times, like for an hour here or there, if it comes in, that voice is trash. If the trade isn't ironclad, like, and what I mean ironclad doesn't mean that's gonna win. Giving you obvious signs to you that it did it, at least like breaking structure, closing. Like, why are we trying to buy and turtle soup everything? We're not that good yet.
Yeah.
We're good enough to wait for the obvious trades to us and continue to get better. We're going to need years before it's like, okay, we buy on the wick. Oh, I know that my stop should be there and should have drawn down further. Like it's that's why if you look at that, like moving the stop up, like me and 510, like we were in a trade that was similar, and then like we got out early on longs today because like I got out because like, oh, the fair value gap that I entered on, it got reinverted. Usually that's a fail for me, but I was even thinking it's pretty close. So I'm like, today's been shaky, just take the small loss and go. Took the small loss, we never look back.
Yep.
And like
honestly,
that happens sometimes, but this is what I mean about like patience. Like if that 1 minute inversion fair value gap was backed up for all the reasonings later, which it was, that I re-entered again and I traded that patiently and properly and waited for an entry and then multiple reasons to be in it, there would have been no reason for me to leave. But because I was so just focused on this little thing, that it gets me out. And I lose track of the fact, like the fact that you're on playing on higher time frames. You started off saying that you check the hour, and then you're executing, and you literally call that a sharp move down for another leg down. Oh, you want a leg of like, what is that, like 2 points or whatever? It's like that's not a sharp move. But that other move, that one right there, sharp, and then see what it does, and it delivers. Like, yeah, you have the chance that it comes back into OTE, but where's that fair value gap go? It taps that fair value gap perfect into that breaker, into that order block. It's like, all right, we out.
I had two real mistakes here, VJ, and it's two mistakes you could argue against each other. So this is my opinion on which one was more crucial in this situation. The first mistake I made, and one of the most beginner mistakes every trader kind of encounters it, is I move my stop too early, and I mess with my stop. I move it up, I move it down, and I mess around with it. I once had my stop at this previous high, and it was a lot safer for the extra sweeps and stop runs before an actual move. Because I made the stop, not only was it in an environment which was very probable to stop me out, even though this trade is still valid, but because I moved down my stop, it gave me such a small room for success that it's almost very likely that I'll get stopped out.
Yeah.
The second mistake. So the first mistake was moving down my stop.
Well, the rest of the show is going to be about the other mistakes.
Yeah.
The mistakes is not even with the trade. The mistakes is the reasoning why you're making this.
Exactly.
Like, so I know you're trying to like explain the trade, and I do want that, but like the reasoning behind it is the mistake. It's the thing that's fueling.
Exactly.
Let me finish this. It's the thing that's fueling the collection of mistakes. They are not separate. Your one singular mistake and then the next one you're about to explain are actually tied together.
Yep. No, you're right. I even had multiple of these trades as well. I moved down my stop too early. I get green.
Same.
And then I got stopped out. Literally green.
Same.
A good amount stopped out. Green stopped out. It happens. I've had multiple trades like that.
And think about how it steps up. And this is probably why you start. Think about how it sets up. You probably start off with a loss, and now you want to lose less, and that causes you to lose more. Same here. And it's okay to start off with a loss, but then we get into lower quality trades and find out ways to trick ourselves into the trade. And so, yeah, it's just like this thing that like pops up sometimes. Can't allow it to like really take a hold. If it pops up sometimes, you just got to get away from the chart and reset.
Here's another thing that I just want to address real quick, because here's something I struggle with as this strategy is I do not enter when it's fully like ripe, like the trade has not played out enough for it to be super highly probable. For instance, you guys know a lot about my trading strategy, right? 0.618, a sweep, fair value gap, liquidity. It's almost the same every time. I as much as I can, I keep it statistical and very robotic. Here's the problem with this strategy. You are entering off of a very minimal sweep. This was a very minimal sweep. Would it have been a better entry if I perhaps moved my entry down to the closure of this candle and kept my stop here for a much more probable trade? Because honestly, sure, the risk to reward is not as good, but as soon as you see that massive move which the distribution stage has started, that's a lot more probable than potentially being stopped out because you didn't get that confirmation in the first place.
So here's my question to you. The problem with that move, when we're just talking about the sweep, is that sometimes a sweep that is legit is going to look like that and then cause a break of structure upon which you should act. So you just have to watch when you see things get sweep. Do we obviously a sweep is we took out the liquidity, we come back in, and then we move back into the range. You want to displace into the range. Look at both. The first one would have been fine even if it accumulated like that, as long as it displaced downwards, and then you should be thinking trade idea. That is your trade idea when there's a market structure shift or a PD array like being inverted. Okay? And so this thing with you're like when like we need to sit on our hands. That sweep could have been plenty fine. And also like when you're talking about entering when that candle goes down, you're not going to wait for the retrace.
Yeah.
Like you just sort of said, yeah, so the best trade is to FOMO in rather than to wait for a fair value gap or order block entry, which by the way, those type of entries that you're talking about are often my worst trades because you have to withstand a large stop and then sometimes it doesn't make as much sense. Now, played 2 more candles. Makes a fair value gap and then taps it in the order block or breaker. And then now take an entry there, and then how much nicer is your sub?
It would be.
Never gets drawn down, and you never. Because think about this: if you're entering on the first red candle closure, especially with no idea on how far away your target is, your realistic target, then that ends up being chasing most of the time. And so you're once again that solution would lead into the same problem in a way. The point is to be ready for the trade and absolutely execute if it gets there. And if it doesn't, to absolutely not execute.
Yeah.
That's what I'm starting to realize. It's not about being in every trade. It's, okay, there's a trade idea. I like an entry here. It didn't give it to me. Okay. Or, oh, there's a trade idea. I'll take it here. Got filled. Got stopped out. That was my stop. There it is. Whatever. And once I take a certain RR, I'll move my fucking stop to break even. And most of the time, okay, it's your first PT. That's fair. I can get it. A lot of times, your first PT needs to be a real PT. It can't be just taken because of the money, because it looks good, because then you're going to get too defensive. It's like, if you already said I could take this loss, then go. What I realized, Luca, another thing, and we should just be done talking about this trade. I'm done about this. This is about, like, our fucking problems at this point. Are you done talking about this?
Yeah, I'm down. 100%.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, it's patience. Patience, like, has been getting there. It sort of sucks because with these free evals, like, it made me less patience for a little bit. But today I realized, like, okay, yeah, I'll just sit for like 1 trade a day if I have to, no problem. And then, but I mean, probably be a handful, maybe even like 2, 3. That's fine. But then the other thing is like to just like disrespect the work that we're doing and then to chase in there. Like, do we not really think that the market's going to give more moves? It does. If it's not clear, who cares? We should of all like care the least. And that's why I hate when there's these extra things like these free evaluations or whatever time frames that are throwing you off the game because they're keeping you off the focus. When I mean you, I mean me.
Yep.
Okay, this I know leads into it. That's why today was not that bad. Lose 150 on an eval, which is quite reasonable, just to like re-get the feel and understand my responsibility to it. Okay, and to like be like, okay, yeah, these accounts like now you're gonna start paying for, and like they're serious. Like, okay, if they fuck up, it's okay, but like you can't do anything like that's not legit. Why the fuck would you? And if you don't take a trade one day, that's fine. And therefore, if we take ourselves serious like that, our trades will be serious. And like probably the move and stop stuff should be like more set and forget it. I noticed like
Exactly.
I mean, it can be set and forget it. I'm gonna take something that were early on from one of the homies, which is like, yeah, your first TP, just take it. But then what I would do is just like I would see the dollar amount and just take it, rather than like, no, that's my first PT. And then every single time that happens, my trading slowly devolves into what happened 2 Tuesdays and Wednesdays ago, and sort of a little bit today and a little bit yesterday, as the time frames were condensing, and I had to delete some accounts and cancel accounts. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you are trading for you, like we are dealing right now with like some similar things, and the thing that I was saying as my mantra before the show is like we're in a critical time. It's okay. Understand it's critical and go forward. Like I feel like there's a part when we're trading badly that has a bit more fear than needs to. And the fear is not necessarily can I trade or spot trade ideas. It's more will it give me my entry?
Yeah, I agree.
So I can capitalize on my trade idea. And guess what? Most of the time it does, but we're already in the trade as it comes into our entry place. We hold through the drawdown. And then at some point, because it's fucking around, to essentially punish weak shorts in your particular case for this trade, then you're like, fuck it, it's just not worth it. All right, I'll just take a small loss. Like, shouldn't even been there. And then it fulfills the trade idea. When in reality, rather than getting in so early, you could have just waited for the displacement candle.
I agree. Exactly.
And then to wait for it to come back. Like maybe there's a couple fair value gaps, and then that's the one that's there. Okay, and you want to enter on the top one, but you know it may come out more. Okay, put in one contract if you have multiple, or a cheap contract, or better yet, do not enter until it comes back to your area. That's actually the real answer. Do not enter till it comes back into your area, and if it goes, let it go. We are good enough traders to get it back. I mean, the amount of trade ideas I engaged in, and stupid ones, and still only was down slightly, is crazy. That shows you how good the good ones were. I had like, you know what I'm saying? But instead, I'm like, I really want to hit the goal. I really want to do this. And then proceed to miss out on it when literally, if I just took my couple good trades, even with a couple losers, and those couple good trades, I went in like half position, I would be up the same amount that I'm down. And it's because I was being disrespectful for the work that I do, disrespectful to the TA, disrespectful to the people and systems that allowed us to understand smart money and to get more into it. And instead, we want to be little pussies and not be real patient traders of the market in order to win. So that's where I get to, and why I don't really dwell, but I think about it and be like, yo, you were a pussy today and a little bit yesterday, and it's okay because you had those little whatever. This is unacceptable. And literally, like, if I even feel it coming on, or I take like one trade, like my new rule is like, this is how I'll make sure I take excellent trades. If I take like on these accounts, especially like 2 losers in a row, I'm done for the day. I'll just leave the accounts. They'll take their little loss and be like, yeah. And so I'm just going to wait for the good trades. And if they miss me, it's okay. I can continue to trade. But if I take a bad one and I get stopped out for whatever reason, it's not. If I take a loser and it's a reasonable loser, maybe I'll make an adjustment. Maybe take an extra trade. But if it's a bad trade, actually, if I take one bad trade, I'm done. If I take a couple losers, I'm done. But if I take one bad trade, I'm done. I'm going to punish myself now.
Yeah, I honestly have to do the same. I've got to discipline myself. But I feel I've got a couple of different problems, I feel. And one of the problems, I'll just reference the chart because it just so happens that this was a problem. But even last week on the previous episode, I had a problem with me messing around with my trade. Always micromanaging my trade, always trying to take as much risk off the table as possible, not going with the TA. That's my problem. My problem right now is I need to know when to move my stop and when not to move my stop. And right now, one of the
you do have one. You do, by the way, you do have one system that works quite well. Set it and forget it.
and I'll just reference that as well, VJ. I was just gonna say, which one of the most beginner and like well-known things is to set your stop loss and honor your stop loss. It's everyone has been taught as traders that you set a stop loss above the previous high, an area you're not comfortable with holding through, and you honor your stop loss. Yes, that is exactly what you should do. But if you start messing around with your stop loss, it can seriously deteriorate yourself mentally. Because I am in a situation where I'm trying to survive as much as I can for the green. I put on a trade straight away. I see some green. Right? I'm maybe taking some profits off the table. The wrong thing I'm doing is trying to micromanage my stop loss. When should I exit? I'm not letting my TA play out thoroughly. I'm just trying to micromanage everything. And these manipulation sweeps, or these sweeps that technically didn't hit your stop loss but you moved it down, are complete market maker manipulations to exit these participants from the trades. And clearly I was one of those participants that I got stopped out because I was in this mentality of hyperfixation on my risk to reward. When should I exit? I should be more relaxed. I should set my stop loss above this high like any normal trader. I should wait. I should be patient, and then I should let my trade play out thoroughly and see and take profits only when PTs are hit. No, money goals or whatever that are keeps in your way. You have to play thoroughly based on your on the price action and the bias you had on the trade. Because if you do anything else, it will mess with yourself mentally, and you're gonna see these mistakes and these deteriorations in your P&L and in your trading. It happens. You can't let the trade dictate your mentality. It should be the opposite.
That one statement had like this. You said this. It was a great statement, but good God, you said it like 4 times over.
Really? No, I didn't.
It's okay.
No, there's no way.
It's okay.
Did I really? Fuck, I gotta look.
I mean, you were just like, yeah. You know how like if you write an essay, you had like 4 conclusion paragraphs. That's all. You do that. So
you guys already know I'm an English wizard.
And I'm great at summaries because this is what I was gonna say. Just to summarize your point, you should only take really good trades for this particular reason, and this is why you weren't convinced, and that's why you moved your stop up. Because you were, what did I call you? A week short. Just like I was in some of the trades when I was, they call it paper handing. It's not that it's paper, and it's not that like you're weak. It's that you weren't convinced on your own trade idea. And because you weren't convinced on your own trade idea, it caused you to move the stop up because you were unsure, is this the right entry? Is this an entry that I'm willing to think? That's what happens to me when I take shitty entries. I know, oh shit, I got to get out sooner or whatever. I realize that now functionally because I've done it so many times.
Yeah.
But when I was doing it, I didn't realize it. And that's what it is. You were a week short because you weren't convinced on your idea because all of the confirmations didn't set. You were trying to buy on the wick,
exactly.
Establish a position on the tap. Now, if you were very like, okay, this order block is the one that I think is going to hold price, then you would have kept your stop.
Exactly.
But instead, you're probably thinking like, oh, okay, this is maybe not it. You know what? Like, let me reduce the risk because of what? Because it's likely not to play out because you got in too early. That's exactly sort of what you're saying.
Yeah,
that's exactly
I was making excuses. Exactly.
I mean, I do the same thing every time that I'm like, I'm not too sure about the stop. That's when I know.
Yep.
You're an idiot. You absolutely FOMO'd in.
And sometimes you make these mistakes in real time. You know you're making these mistakes, and yet you do nothing about it. I have those moments as well.
I do too, but what's the thing that we're supposed to do about it? and this is one thing that I've been better about. But I think with the free vals, there was no incentive to.
The free
so I
vals.
got to re-practice them. Do you know what's the thing? Don't get
Set
too
it and forget it.
distracted. That's the thing. No. The thing is, oh my god, if I can lost my train of thought. It's not set it or forget it necessarily for the trade. It's just to get into good trade ideas. If you get into good trade ideas,
yes,
you could be
yes.
a strong position. You could be strong in your position. That I think this is a trade. Why? Okay, we retrace into OTE. Why? Because it broke structure with displacement that was obvious. Why? Okay, and I stayed here and I waited for it, and I added one there, and I added one here, and my stop was here, and what happened? Ta-da! Price target was hit. Why? Because it wasn't completely seek and destroy. Price showed his hand to me, and we took this entry. And yeah, there was some fuckery and a retrace on the way there. Did at any point I move my stop past where it needed to be? No. Why? Because I was solid in my trade idea. Essentially, you did the work and the patience, and you executed properly. And whenever we do this weird shit, we prove it. Our actions are showing how weak we think about our trade idea. Like it's like even if you're not thinking it, or you're like, oh yeah, this is a trade idea. The fact that you have a question, you're willing to dump the position, especially before it gets there, is showing you, okay, either I need to have more confidence in my trading ability. Maybe I could do that with back testing, or I rushed into this position. I don't really believe in it.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't fully believe in it is the real conclusion. But listen,
same here.
Honestly, I'm learning a lot, especially in these weeks of hardship and red. Can you believe that?
Ugh.
I don't know. I need a Levi comment to cheer me up, you know. Anyway, listen.
Yeah, he'll probably he'll tell you something amazing, I'm sure.
Okay.
Go on. You okay? Luca.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. All right, listen.
This guy definitely was answering. Like, he
okay,
has like
listen.
a spice bag or some curry at the door.
It's fine. It's fine.
You guys remember the last fucking episode, guys? That's why.
Wow, you're gonna bring it up. You're gonna bring it up.
He had food come in and shit, and I'm red because I'm not eating.
Okay, first of all, a brother gotta eat. Okay, a brother gotta eat.
Too, man.
Brother gotta eat, man. Listen, if you got some food delivered, you got an automatic Luca pass. You got a Luca pass. You're good, brother. You got food. Brother gotta eat. Anyway, listen, guys. We're gonna leave this episode here. Come on, like, subscribe, everything. We love you guys.
Love you.
Yeah, we'll finish this week, and we'll see you on Monday. All right. See you guys soon.
Kisses.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.